ただ、もしもその瞬間が来たら、それがお前がバレエにハマる瞬間だ。
I feel that whenever I recommend Haikyuu to someone, the most common response I get back is, I'm just not that into volleyball. And that's okay. Neither was I when I first picked up the show. But you will be. Because to say that Haikyuu can be something truly life-changing is hardly an exaggeration. The Haikyuu pipeline goes a little something like this. You're not that into volleyball, but you've heard enough about Haikyuu and enough people have recommended it to you that you decide, what the hell, I'll give it a shot. A couple episodes in and you're thinking to yourself, you know what, I'm kinda warming up to these little guys. And by the time Haikyuu really hits its stride, you're rooting for your favorite teams. You're cheering when they win and crying when they lose. You're motivated by their insatiable hunger for more volleyball, and you're fully invested in a lineup of side characters richer than some show's entire cast. And before you know it, you're putting on 5-inch inseam shorts, lacing up your sneakers, and heading to the volleyball court yourself to practice your spikes. And this is hardly an isolated event. The release of Haikyuu has been directly correlated to a notable increase in Japanese high school volleyball club enrollment. So it's okay that you're not into volleyball right now, because soon you will be. Haikyuu follows the story of Shoyo Hinata, the unfalteringly positive, fiery-haired protagonist, and his edgy black-haired rival, Tobio Kageyama. Hinata is driven by pure willpower and determination to overcome the impossible odds he was dealt by birth, to both surpass the natural talent of his emo counterpart, and realize his dream of becoming the best at— Ah, shit. Wait a minute. Haikyuu follows the story of Shoyo Hinata, the unfalteringly positive, fiery-haired protagonist, and his edgy black-haired rival, Tobio Kageyama. In the real world, as well as in Haikyuu, volleyball is a battle of height. It is an absolute that tall players are strong, and Hinata, at only 5'4" tall, is ill-equipped to fight this battle. But on TV, he sees powerhouse school Karasuno's ace, a player known as the Tiny Giant, dominate the competition despite his shortcomings by making up for what he lacks in height with vertical leap. Hinata is immediately enthralled by this figure and internalizes that he too can become a star player. He trains tirelessly to achieve this goal, but in his first official game, he is matched against Kitagawa Daiichi Junior High and their king of the court, Tobio Kageyama. This nickname alludes to both Kageyama's ruthlessly authoritarian approach to volleyball, as well as his natural aptitude for the sport. Kitagawa Daiichi crushes Hinata's team in a one-sided landslide in their first game, but Hinata's determination towards his dream does not waver. In a moment of classic shonen exposition, Hinata hunts down Kageyama after the game in order to issue a declaration of war. A declaration that he will become stronger, a declaration that he can stay on the court longer and get the opportunity to play more volleyball than his newfound rival, only for fate to ordain that they end up as teammates together the next year at none other than Karasuno High School. Where Haikyuu differs from your typical shonen is how it handles its power scaling. While other shows measure power in superhuman ability, magic, or mastery of chakra, ki, or any nature of other spiritual energies, power in Haikyuu is measured in passion. While Haikyuu's gradual increase in stakes and skill is certainly complemented by plenty of sweat, tears, and a healthy dose of the power of friendship, what separates the great players from the best players in Haikyuu can only be measured in seconds, in raw, fleeting, heart-stopping moments, where in the same way weariness causes one to drift and then fall into a sudden slumber, one's passion lets them slip one step deeper in love with the game of volleyball. Haikyuu is not about being the best. Haikyuu isn't even really about winning. You can win over and over and over again, but it only takes one loss to end a season. When Hinata, the boy who satiates his crazed hunger to stay on the court by putting 110% into any ball that dare come his way, and Kageyama, the setter who has looked his entire life for someone as crazy as he is, who has felt the sting of loneliness that comes from trying to bring out this craziness in people, join a team of peers who share their same passion for volleyball, something special happens. A spark ignites. Haikyuu is not about winning. It's about doing whatever it takes to avoid the one loss that ends the season. The one loss that means that you have to leave the court for the final time. the loss that snuffs out the spark of passion. Passion is an infectious thing. It's probably why you do many of the things you do, watch the content you watch, or pursue the interests you enjoy. Seeing others do what they love puts a smile on your face and your heart in your throat, and it inspires you to push harder yourself. But one thing better than seeing someone do what they love is to follow alongside someone in their journey, to be there when they experience that pivotal moment that ignites their spark for the first time. Kei Tsukishima is a second-year middle blocker at Karasuno High. He's introduced as an abrasive, too-cool-to-care grouch on this once powerhouse team that has since fallen from grace. To Tsukishima, volleyball is just a club, somewhere he naturally fits in due to his height. He neither shares nor understands the spark that drives his teammates. Sure, he can try to improve himself, but why bother when there will always be someone better to knock him down? Why put forth the effort if it means that it's only going to hurt more when he inevitably loses again? He treats volleyball like he might a school test, never quite trying for 100%, just doing what it takes to pass. And this defeatist attitude is only amplified once Hinata joins the team and is given a middle blocker position. In this game defined by height, he now has to share his position with a 5'4" first year. And worse yet, Hinata will only get better. Tsukishima is terrified of allowing himself to get invested in volleyball. Improving is hard. It's a time-consuming, painful, mentally and physically straining task, and he refuses to open himself up to the possibility that all this effort might not pay off. So he deflects. He belittles Hinata, telling him that his height will prevent him from ever being great, while also saying that he could never stack up to Hinata's true potential whenever anyone brings up his improvement. He admires his teammates' strengths, but taunts Kageyama by calling him a tyrannical king of the court whenever he pushes him to be stronger himself. He lives in this state of cognitive dissonance, where he wants to be better, but he simply can't bring himself to face what might happen if he fails. At training camp, he turns in early while his teammates are putting in extra practice. While they are fighting to rise to the level of their rivals, he resigns himself to defeat before ever trying. In addition to facing off against his opponents, Tsukishima is in an internal competition against himself, and he's losing before he ever gets to the starting line. But Tsukishima's longest friend and teammate, Tadashi Yamaguchi, recognizes that his friend is struggling, and he's had enough seeing him fight this silent battle for so long. One night, as Tsukishima leaves to turn in early, Yamaguchi chases him down and demands to know how he can act this way, how he can know that he cannot achieve something great if he never even allows himself to try. His friend's outburst is finally enough to wake up Tsukishima from his apprehensive stupor, even if only slightly. Tsukishima realizes that his friends and teammates want the best for him, even when he doesn't have the strength to want it himself. He asks them how they can be so motivated, knowing that there's such a small chance of it ever amounting to anything great. And they tell him, it's not about the payoff. It's about finding something that allows you to push yourself to your fullest potential, finding something that makes volleyball worth playing. And once that moment arrives for you, that is when you'll be hooked on volleyball. During a practice, players from other teams introduce Tsukishima to read blocking, a block where you follow your opponent's movements as they perform them to instantly shut them out. This block combines physical strength, restraint, and mental fortitude. It perfectly complements both Tsukishima's skills and his position. It's a block where you get the last laugh, and a block that gives him a sense of purpose. The snobby second year who was once too cool to try, now has something that makes trying worthwhile. He starts putting effort into training. He starts asking for help. He sets attainable goals for himself. His team starts to depend on him. What used to fill him with fear and frustration now fans a lone ember waiting to ignite. He opens himself up to the possibility of failure, but also the possibility of something life-changing, culminating in this one perfect moment.
たかがブロック1本、たかが25点中の1点、たかが部活。
もしもその瞬間が来たら、それがお前がバレエにはまる瞬間だ。
Tsukishima's story is just one of many in Haikyuu. The show does a remarkable job of providing depth to even the most minor characters, even those most fundamentally opposed to the goals of the protagonists. There are no villains in Haikyuu. Even those who stand directly in the way of Karasuno are still just fellow competitors. They are people who love something so much that they're willing to put everything on the line in order to fight for one more moment doing it. And they each have a complex relationship with volleyball ready to be explored. The flame of passion explored in Haikyuu is not a constant, unwavering thing. Some tell themselves that they're too cool to get invested. Some shut down when they're confronted with adversity. Some are repeatedly beaten to the point of losing hope. And some just aren't that into volleyball. So it's okay if you haven't found that spark for volleyball yet. Or if you haven't found that spark for anything yet, really. Because Haikyuu will hold your hand until you do. It offers a little something inspiring for everyone. And if for nothing else, Haikyuu is worth watching for each time Hinata goes a little crazy-eyed as he fights for the chance to stay on the court. For each pep talk from Coach Takeda. For each loss and each victory. And for each time someone discovers a passion worth losing themselves in, and becomes just a little bit more obsessed with the thing they love most.
多分他人のその瞬間を目撃した。春高2日目、こいつがもう一段深くバレーボールにはまった日。